I'm Dan Drake. This is Front Up on Geno TV and Channel 99. With us today is Nancy Thayer, Nantucket's favorite author.
Thank you, Dan.
It's nice to have you here, Nancy, again. It's been a while since you were here before.
Yes.
And what's going on in the book world?
Oh, it's really busy in the book world. And one of the exciting things is that e-readers have made the sales of real books go up, which is something no one expected.
Yeah, I mean, from what I read, the book business is actually pretty healthy these days.
It is,
which is great.
Yeah.
And the niche bookstores also seem to be hanging on there pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, it was interesting. I was in a mall I was in the Hyannis Mall last 2 weeks ago, and I was not very happy with what I saw there. In that you know, there aren't a lot of people there.
Oh, that's sad.
And their storefronts closed and so forth. So I think it's good that, from a author standpoint and a bookseller standpoint, that e-readers have taken hold. And,
right.
And even I read it on my books on my iPad occasionally. So you, I guess, have been on a schedule where you've written winter books and summer books. And this was your most recent winter book?
Well, this is a combination of my two winter books. It combines A Nantucket Christmas, which is a short novel, a novella that involves a dog at Christmas, and then An Island Christmas involves a cat at Christmas. And so they
only meet in between the covers of this book.
That's right, they do. And it's a nice paperback that they made with two different books for a kind of stocking stuffer.
That's great. Well, thank you for this.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. I was looking at your website. There's a story behind this, I gather, which I'm not aware of, but I love it. I absolutely think it's the greatest.
It's never too late in fiction or in life to revise.
Right.
If you see, there's a Spark people, I don't know who they are, but many organizations have picked up that quote and used it as their quote.
And that's from one of your early books?
From one of my early books, and it's from Morning, which was one of the first books I wrote on Nantucket, and it's something that a woman writer says, and somebody found it, and
made it famous.
Made it famous.
Made you
more
famous.
Yes.
That's great, because I think there is a lot of truth in that statement.
I think so,
it's
too.
never too late in fiction or in life to revise.
Especially since, for all of us, including you and Geno, we have more time to live healthily and actively than, say, our parents did, because we've had more antibiotics, we've had more exercise, we've had better food.
We've had more time-saving, theoretically time-saving devices.
Yeah, we have.
So on. And a lot of people just buy takeout now, so they don't even cook.
Right.
So
I can't imagine who that would be.
I don't know. I'm not talking about anybody I know. But anyway, it's an interesting reflection, and I think has probably, as you say, means more today than it did when you first wrote it.
It does, yes.
So, in May, you have your next summer novel.
Yes. Oh, I just printed that off on my printer, and that isn't even printing paper, but yes, A Nantucket Wedding comes out in May, and I love this book, and there are a whole lot of reasons that I love it.
Tell us about them.
First of all, you've got to know that Nantucket is like the place for people to come get married. They have so many beautiful venues here, and so many interesting, not just ministers, but officiants of all kinds, like Catherine Stover or Beverly Hall. And there are so many beautiful places, the beach, unless it rains. And I have, there's so many photographers, like Katie Kaiser and Beverly Hall and
Carrie Hazelgrove.
And Carrie Hazelgrove, yes.
And many others.
And many others. And I thought, I want to write about a Nantucket wedding.
Have you ever given a Nantucket wedding? Did you
No, I've been to them, but
that's to me is an interesting challenge because just as an aside for a minute,
yeah.
we had 3 children who got married, and the oldest one wanted desperately to have her wedding here. And to be very frank, when for logistical reasons and others, his family was all from California, and decided they just couldn't swing Nantucket.
Right.
I breathed a great sigh of relief.
Why is that?
Because I see what goes on, and the challenges. Well, the capstone of the story is, and I know this is about you, not about me, but let me just finish.
Keep going.
A nephew, who is basically our 4th child, has just asked whether he and his fiancée could have their wedding at our house in September. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
yes. Well, I think one of the problems with weddings here is that they've all gotten so expensive and posh, and that isn't really the idea of weddings on Nantucket as people used to think about them, because Nantucket is so much about nature and the beach and the ocean, and so many people want to be married by the beach, on the beach. The weddings I've been to on Nantucket have been on the beach, but it's turned into, well, for one thing, there's something now called destination weddings.
Very much so.
Very
much so. Our 3rd child had one of those. They're not here.
Yeah, so everybody goes to some really cool place, and what is cooler than Nantucket? And then there's also so much money in this town now, on this island, that the amount of money you can spend on something like flowers. I don't know about here, but I talked to someone who went to a wedding on the Vineyard, and the flowers alone cost $100,000, just the flowers, which is, it's sort of mind-boggling to me.
Obscene almost,
yeah, it is kind of obscene. Yeah. So this is not about. Well, this is kind of.
This is a barefoot beach wedding, obviously from the picture.
It is. It is. But it's also it's a wedding of 2 widowed people who are about 55, and their children, because they each have 2 children. And what I find interesting is the conflicts or the fun between the 2 children, and how that reflects on the parents.
The children, siblings, or the children with each other?
All of them.
All of them. So just without giving anything away, what's the storyline?
Well, the storyline is that a man has a beautiful house on Nantucket. He has his fiancée come for the summer. She invites her family, which is 2 young women. Well, by young, I mean they're like 28 and 32. Right. That's young. Yeah, and they have children. And then he has a son and a daughter. And everything gets a little bit confused. Sometimes people don't act as well as they ought to. I don't know about your children, but every now and then my children had a little sibling rivalry. Yeah. Do you want to know about it?
I can just imagine. Been there, done that.
Yes,
so, yeah.
yes. Yeah. So this was a lot of fun to write, to get, because we all want a Hollywood ending. We all want Cinderella and the Prince, and that's what a wedding is about. It's about that moment, and what we hope for our children when they get married is that this beautiful moment of pure love will carry through everyday life with all of its difficulties.
It's a challenge, isn't it?
That's a challenge.
We all know that's a challenge.
Yes, we all know that. Yeah.
How long does it take? I mean, where do you get the ideas for your books?
I listen to people. I eavesdrop. I talk to people. I talk to my daughter. I listen to my daughter is what I should say. And,
come on.
And I listen to her friends. And my last summer novel, Secrets in Summer, was set on Nantucket, and I used a lot of the year-round Nantucket activities in it. The women's chorus is in it.
Can I refer somebody to that book if they ask me what do you do on Nantucket in the wintertime?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yes, and the Artists Association and the library and so on. But I thought of Secrets in Summer when I was sitting in our backyard. We're surrounded by hedges on the corner of Orange and Flora. And Flora is a one-way street,
Right.
and the hedges make it possible for me to read and nobody sees me. But people will walk down the street on the other side of the hedge, and they might stop and get into an argument, which I kind of listen to, or they might have an intimate moment, and at that point I usually go, la 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 la, because I really don't want to hear all of their intimate moments.
Right. Or their arguments.
And so I thought, what a good idea for a book, for someone who's listening to the summer people move into houses around her and know the different things that are going on.
Where did the idea for this book come from for the Nantucket Wedding?
I think from talking to all the people and looking at the magazines and just reading the newspaper and thinking, gosh, a lot of people get married, and a lot of people want these fabulous weddings, and these people get a fabulous wedding.
But then there's the sort of the, I don't know what you call it, but there's the understory, the other theme of the children that goes through it. So you have to create that too as you go along. And I suppose in some cases you get it from one situation, and others, you build on a number of experiences and observations.
Well, one of the understories is based on the fact that so many marriages break up these days. I was divorced a long time ago, and thank you, Henry VIII, for divorce. I'm always grateful to him. I toast him. And then I met Charlie about 35 years ago, and we've been married for 33 years. And I have lots of friends who've gone through the same thing. And that's always, talk about challenging. That divorce period is a challenging time. And a
trying time.
And a trying time. And if you have little children and you're on the verge of a divorce, then you really think, no, I'm going to try to make this work as hard as I can. So on top of the sort of frothy, happy feeling of the wedding, there are some real difficulties and sadnesses and losses, but that's what we all have.
Yeah, it's true. What else is in the works?
I'm working on a book. Well, actually, I can't talk about them yet. I don't have titles yet, but I'm getting organized to write 2 books for 2019. A Nantucket Wedding will come out in 2018.
Right, in May.
In May, and I'm going to write another beach book and another Christmas book, because I love Christmas on Nantucket. I love the stroll. I love the lights. I grew up in Kansas, so that I can watch Santa Claus come over with the Coast Guard. I'm like a child.
You're not in Kansas anymore.
I know, and I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing in the world. And then there's the carriage with the horse, and
if it snows, that's added bliss,
absolutely,
right?
yeah. So I really have been wanting to write another Christmas book.
Another animal, or
well, that's
or
a good
bird?
question. A bird might work, but I was on the ferry. This would be 2 years ago, and a woman who I don't know her name. I know her face. Came up to me and said, "You've written 2 Christmas books now, one with a cat and one with a dog." And I said, "That's right." And she said, "Well, why don't you write one with a horse?" And I thought, well, I'll think about it.
Right.
And it's fun to think about, to have that little starting point and then make everything, 2 points, Christmas, horse, and make things revolve around it. we'll see what I can
What
do.
about the summer one? Can you talk about that at all? The summer 19?
No, I'm not quite ready
Okay.
to talk about that
All
yet.
right. Well, Nancy, thank you. It's great to have you. You bring joy to a lot of people's lives with
Well,
your
thank
books,
you.
and it's great to touch base with you every once in a while. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you, Dan.